Hey, nice hat.
Hey, you like this hat?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty awesome. I just got it the other day, and my best friend said that she thinks this particular hat is my signature hat.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's nice.
Signature hat.
All right, so I guess we're going to start.
Yep, I'm gonna, wait, let me hit publish. Let me broadcast first.
Oh, are you broadcasting to...
Just the 5 of us. Now I'm gonna broadcast it publicly.
No, but you're broadcasting it just on the stream?
Yeah.
I'm leaving my mic
Okay.
open. Can you guys hear yourselves?
Yeah. No, it's fine.
No, we can't hear you.
No, you're fine.
I think we can hear you through Christopher, maybe. Or hear us through Christopher. But I can't tell.
I've got some headphones.
There's not a lot of echo, so it's not too bad.
Okay, because I can put my mic in if necessary, so...
No, it'll be more than one.
Alright, ready? Going. Live now.
Okay.
Yep, there we go.
That's weird.
Did I write? Okay, I did say that right. How are you guys tonight?
We're good.
I am good.
I'm good. I shouldn't say we're good.
Good.
He speaks for all of us.
Alright.
Muy bien, okay.
Yeah.
So tonight we have Ben Woods.
Hello.
Hello Ben. And Chris Biscardi. Did I say
Hey.
that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Then Eric Martindale
Hello there.
and Mike Corbett.
Hello.
And then me. Hello.
I think they probably know who you are because they are looking at your channel. So.
Carm, you deserve a better introduction than that.
I know. Hello.
I listen to a podcast where he'll announce everybody, and then like if he doesn't say his own name or if they don't say his own name, somebody will be like, "And our beloved host," and they'll all like, "Oh yeah!" They'll get all lit up and on fire and stuff like that. But it's a bunch of nerds. So it's a bunch of heavyset dudes sitting in a basement getting all excited. And they literally are in the basement though. They bring it up. They bring it up, like recording from the basement, and they all sit around a round table because they're all local here in the state I live in. It's a pretty funny podcast. But not to mention their podcast too much because this is ours.
Now we gotta start a new one.
Yeah.
No name dropping, right?
Start it over. I was talking to Vic Gundotra the other day. No, I wasn't. Carmen, you should start talking so I don't have to anymore.
No, it's okay. We have. I'm hoping that you would talk more than me tonight. So.
Okay, well I'll talk a lot then.
Okay, good.
All right, I'm excited.
Yeah.
For everybody.
You know what? I'm really excited today.
I
Sorry.
think since our show is like on the premise of Carm, you develop and do graphic design, and you're interested in tech, right? And what else do you do?
Project management, coordination, and stuff like that. But
Right.
we're starting to do a lot of mobile projects right now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, that's the main idea of our podcast, of our show, is that we're doing mobile and everything like that. And I'm what some have called a mobile expert. In Threads, some have called me a mobile god. I don't know if I claim that title exactly. But I'm a beginning graphic designer, and some have called me an Android fanboy. I don't quite claim that title. I do enjoy other OSs, but Android's my preference. So I was thinking maybe we run down kind of the guests and see what else the rest of you do. So I can see Ben is in my first window. So Ben, what do you do overall, whether it be development or enjoyment of what makes you? What are you going to talk about most on this podcast?
Bollocks.
Okay, next.
So much for the UK audience.
I do all kinds of stuff. As far as day job goes, I mean, mainly website design and hardware, software, networking support for small businesses, stuff like that. Boring junk. in my hobbies, I mean, I do all graphic design. I work on my game. Blah blah blah. You know, you take
Okay.
take 10 different things, pick one.
All right. And Chris, what would you say you're more known for, or people know you as?
Well, my traditional background is in design, so
Okay.
web design, stuff like that. I also know in design, in print design.
Okay. Right.
But I work as a web development consultant, so I work a lot with
awesome.
Node and Backbone.
Okay.
I love that word consultant. It always can mean
It means so many different things.
It's like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You will pay me for it.
What are you doing today? I'm the trash consultant. Oh, cool. Can you empty that trash can over there? Yes, I can. I know where all the black bags are. And Eric, what do you do?
First and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur. I've started several companies before. What I am in terms of startups is wearer of multiple hats, but primarily, of course, right? Primarily, I focus on server-side engineering and algorithms and machine learning and serving that data down to the client, the mobile client, ultimately. So.
That's really awesome. So we have a pretty good board, and we have a few topics. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them today, because we do have a lot to talk about, and if we might talk about some more briefly than others because of fields of knowledge. Me and Carm put these together, and I know a lot about all of them, and I don't want to make it so it's just me talking about everything. So if you don't know about it, or if you just don't feel like there's a lot of knowledge, or this isn't your field of expertise, maybe just say, steer me away from it, because I'll talk about it for as long as I can. I like a lot of the topics we brought up today. I think we'll just start at the top of our list, which is that Samsung has just announced their ice cream sandwich operating system, which is Android 4, the latest operating system that's only on the Galaxy Nexus right now, is going to be updated for their S2 devices and their Galaxy Note device in early, they're saying quarter 4, so I'm going to give them till quarter 1, I should say. So I'm going to give them till the end of that quarter.
You're a little late.
Not 4, I meant 1, I'm sorry. Quarter 1 of 2012. I'll give them till the end of that because, they sometimes can delay it, especially when it's Samsung. I don't know if any of you know about the Samsung Galaxy S1 debacle, but some of those things still don't have gingerbread.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think this is just kind of a token gesture from Samsung. I mean, they have a pretty good market share in terms of Android devices. If you look at the total number of Android devices and what percentage of them are Samsung, I think it's a decent share, right? Anybody have any numbers on that?
It's actually, I think, the biggest.
Right.
Now,
Is it really?
They're probably the biggest. Motorola used to claim that title with the Droid and the Droid series, but I don't think people are as interested in the Droid series anymore. They're all squared. They're all very box-like. They're kind of
They haven't changed much.
a man phone.
Yeah.
And,
but see,
Thanks for calling my phone not a man phone.
I'm a man,
yours is
and
Droid X.
I still have the HTC Evo, which is
Yeah.
nice rounded corners.
No, I'm not saying it's not, or others aren't, but that's just how they build it. They have ninjas, they have hot women, they have phones cutting through light poles.
Kickstand represents.
Yeah, that's right. Got 3 Evos on the podcast.
The only thing I regret about the kickstand is that it doesn't do portrait kickstand. That upsets me.
That would be sweet.
There's only one phone that does.
That's the Thunderbolt,
the
right?
Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Anyway, but if we get talking about other phones.
Here we go.
That would be bad.
But Samsung, right?
Yeah.
I really think it's a token gesture. I
Right.
mean, they're just kind of throwing it out there because they're in the loop. It means nothing more than that. I mean, the real important announcement is going to be when does the next major manufacturer do it? To me, that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's... Go ahead.
Updates are so fragmented that it doesn't really mean anything until a couple of manufacturers announced the updates.
Well, there's already actually 2 other manufacturers that have announced alpha builds of it. I don't want to pronounce it because I always goof it up. I think it's pronounced Hawaii. It's not. It's Huawei. They're a Chinese company, so it's like highway or Huawei. I know there's probably people that are watching this or they're going to see the YouTube video and go, gosh, you're an idiot! But I can never pronounce it correctly. And I've had friends tell me and I've had other people tell me, but I've never heard an expert say how to say the name.
Post video responses to help us out with that.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody watching it knows it.
And I've even talked with these people at the company, and not like on the phone or anything, but via email, and I'm just like, I don't know how to pronounce your company name. But they've got the first ever ice cream sandwich build that's not on the Nexus, and then HTC has a Sensation build that people can port to the they've got a Sense build you can port to the Sensation right now. So they've both got alpha builds. They're far from complete. The camera probably doesn't work, but they're out there.
That's one of the biggest complaints I've been seeing about ice cream sandwich is that cameras aren't working on. Well, as far as I can tell, most of the builds.
All the builds. There's not a build that has a camera.
Okay.
That I know about.
Yeah, because I was reading, I'm not sure I'm supposed to say where, but anyway, I was reading on a certain forums that basically, as far as like HTC goes, they're going to have to release some sort of Sense version for it or something or another, some update for Sense. And the other carriers, I don't know, from what I could understand, carriers have to release specific builds for it.
Yeah.
I didn't put any, I haven't put any research into that, so.
Yeah.
What about Cyanogen Mod 7, CM7 or CM9? I'm sorry.
Yeah, 9.
All I know is that's in the working, and they don't release those until they're ready. They're basically the equivalent of a Samsung or an HTC or a Motorola. They're not going to give you a half build because they want to get it out first. They're going to give you a total build because that's when they want it out. And from what I've heard, almost all the builds are, I mean, other than Nightly's. Of course, Nightly's is a different story.
Well, yeah, you can
most of the builds are pretty wonky still.
So I've been too frightened to install the Nightly CM9 on my phone, but my buddy did, and he says it's spectacular.
They have a Nightly CM9 for our
CM9 looks awesome.
Ooh.
Have you seen any demos?
Crack flasher coming right up.
Crack flasher.
Go for it.
He's got so many phones. He can sit there and flash like 5 of them while we're
doing this. He could brick them all and then not have a problem.
I can't root or brick any of the ones actually because they're all developer or not developer phones, but review phones. My
if
Evo
they were
is
developer phones, it'd already be.
My Evo is my Evo though, and I crack flash my phones because I know there's no way to break them.
Yeah. You know, as far as Samsung goes, if they're the first to get a proper working ICS build, then that could be kind of a step up for them. I mean, as far as marketing goes, I mean, basically everyone knows ice cream sandwich is the bee's knees. So
it really
they
is
can say, hey, you know, we've got ice cream sandwich. Well, I just said ice cream sandwich.
I'm sure that's probably I think the Google internal name for it.
Yeah, like I think that should be the official name for it, quite frankly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Over the sandwich.
This is live.
How about in some countries they call it ice cream sandwich?
Sandwich.
Or some parts of the country, I should say.
Hey, we could do it German style, sandwich.
Oh, jeez. With I think that's kind of a good way to segue into just talking about ice cream sandwich a little more. What do we think of it? Has anybody here really played with it that much, or messed around with it all that much?
I haven't been hands-on with it, but I've seen some demos, and it looks to be a pretty nice update.
Right.
I mean,
I've actually.
You know, the interesting thing to me is that, you know, the pull down notifications, like how you can dismiss an individual notification. They took a lot of individual things from CM7 Cyanogen. Like,
Well-
Cyanogen seemed to implement a lot of shit before they did. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Beep.
I think the cheap ones are slightly okay. It's the big ones we care about. But yeah, you're right, and the reason for that is that the man Cyanogen, not the mod, but the man actually works at Samsung now.
Mm.
He got hired for Samsung.
So do you think
right.
that development chain is agile enough to submit his code all the way up to Google so that they can build it into their official shit? Oh my god, there I go again. My bad.
You know
See,
what?
I'm the
Put a
problem
swear
child
jar.
here.
Put a
I'm
swear
the
jar in
problem
front of your
child
monitor.
here. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
I think it's definitely possible because Samsung, I'm sure they worked really heavily with Google this time for the Galaxy Nexus, and they worked really with them a lot, and got a lot done, I think, and so they probably worked with him a lot too. I mean, I think he's an integral part of the team. I bet they give him a really good position, like top coder or one of those type things. That's my guess, but I really don't know.
One thing that has struck my my fancy in thinking about it is that it seems to me that a manufacturer could score really big, or even a carrier maybe. You'd fall to the carriers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Could strike it really big by because okay, HTC's unlocking the bootloaders, right? Well,
Ish.
Well, yeah, sort of. But
yeah,
okay.
they are, but they're not making it public completely.
Basically, if if carriers would release phones with, for example, Cyanogen mod being the main, of course they could still bake their stuff into it. This is open source, but I think that might be a big win for them. However, of course, they'd still have to do their own builds of it.
Right.
But, I mean, just look at the features that you have in Cyanogen as opposed to, like, a stock ROM. You know, pick one.
Any of them, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. As far as Ice Cream Sandwich, you know, it's supposed to be, well, not supposed to be. It is the version that's tying in all the devices, or at least
for sure.
Yeah.
You've got tablets and phones running the same exact version. It's just on how they've structured the back end and such to work for, basically work for them and make it work. So.
Android 2 versions from now, kind of a big deal.
After this, we're going to see a lot down the road that'll be very impressive. I mean, I don't like to speculate too much, so I won't go deeply into that, but yeah, it'll be a big deal. I want to ask a question, and it's kind of not really favoritism or anything, but has anybody seen iPhone people talking about the new Galaxy Nexus or interested in the Nexus? And I mean, we've all seen it online. There's plenty of people that have done it online, but have you seen anybody locally or that you personally know that's gone, oh, that Nexus is nice. I kind of wish I hadn't got this 4S or this iPhone 4. Has that happened to anybody? I've not personally seen it, but...
I have limited. Basically, I kind of look at it this way. iPhone users spend so much money, mostly. Mm-hmm. They spend so much money, so much effort into getting your iPhone, and especially having to deal with AT&T, which whatever.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but in my opinion, it kind of comes down to, how you put so much time, so much effort, so much money into something, you really want it to be what you were originally going for.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it would be a little tough for most iPhone users to come out and say, "Oh man, wow, something that's totally not Apple. I've got to have that."
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you see a whole lot of it among friends of mine that actually have iPhones. They kind of begrudgingly say, Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know,
Right.
And then there's others that are like, nothing ever beats the iPhone, so I just
Right.
roll my eyes and walk.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah, it's hard when they're an iPhone fan. They're an iPhone fan forever, kind of.
Mhm.
Very hard to convince them. Otherwise, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, among people I associate with, I've seen a growing, not necessarily with the Nexus or anything, but a growing Android adoption by Apple, traditional Apple people.
That's true.
So people who have had iPhones or bought the iPad in the past are now considering Android devices as opposed to an iPhone.
Well, see, Apple caused a little issue with Siri. I mean, with the devices that Siri supported.
Yeah, they caused their own fragmentation.
Yeah, they royally screwed the pooch on that one, in my opinion. Apple could have won so much bigger because the other devices supported it. They just wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, but what's funny is that Siri is technically a web service.
It's a cloud service, yeah.
Like you guys saw the basically they broke into the app and looked at all the web requests. It's just a web request. You just hit an API and it sends you back information. It's easy.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I mean, I do, but I kind of wish Apple would have like opened that up a little bit more. But then again, it is Apple, and they want to lock shit down. Fuck. Sorry. All right. So they want to lock stuff down to be
We'll
like.
just have to say this was the adult episode.
Oh my god! I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god. But I don't know. And then again, I've got this friend who has no idea about technology whatsoever. They have no clue. And they're still constant iOS fans, and they don't even know it. They're just like, oh, I like my iPhone because it works. That's all I care about.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that attitude a lot, and
yeah, it's like
I don't want to claim we're fanboys or favoritism or anything like that. And I don't want to bash on iPhone people because they're not all like that. There are the few that kind of ruin it for a lot of the iPhone fans that make them look bad. No names to be named, but there are some out there that do it. And you know, it's a nice OS for the people that like it. And you know, we're not saying that you shouldn't like it or you should like it, because we're trying to support all. It does work really well in a lot of instances.
My personal issues with Apple fans are the fact that they kind of get screwed over without necessarily knowing it,
and they kind of take it.
It upsets me that Apple just gets away with it. I mean,
dude, no, they don't get away with it. But Richard Stallman talks about this at great length. And I don't know how many of you guys listen to Richard Stallman, but he's like the founder of the Free Software Foundation. He believes that all software deserves to be free to the users. For example, all software effectively should be open source.
Right.
And so that you can remove these restrictions if you see so fit, right? Basically, he points at Steve Jobs and says, you have created software that shackles the user using digital handcuffs.
Yeah.
You are the person who has effectively been the sole proprietor of digital, being a digital criminal. You have created that industry, right?
Right.
By creating iTunes and all of that. I mean, people should have control, free as in libre, not free as in gratis. Libre, the freedom to do what you want with the data that you consume, not to be shackled to set of controls, right?
Yeah, well, that goes into a lot of other things, like hacking an iPhone or hacking a PS3, and all of these lawsuits.
There's a huge realm of topics to have a conversation about there, but I mean, I think it's unfortunate that the 90%, 95% of the people who use an iPhone or who use an Android device, who use any sort of device, just aren't aware of how much they're limited
Right.
and how much they're shackled by the constraints of the manufacturer. And there's no names specifically being named in that because it's everybody. It really is. So.
Well, you kind of mentioned devices, and I kind of wanted to bring that up a little bit. That CES is coming up. What do we think? I mean, do you think there'll be new amazing devices announced there? Do you think if there are, they'll actually be worthwhile? And I say that because I've seen dual-core phones, we've all seen dual-core phones, and none of them really take advantage of that second core all that often. I mean, maybe for some gaming, they'll put some processes on the second core, but it's really not. I mean, there's a handful of games that really do anything. So quad-core is getting announced, possibly. Will it matter? Because, I mean, I'll still only be using one, maybe 1.5 of those cores. Is quad-core going to be a big deal or no?
It'll matter in 3 years.
That's what I mean. It'll matter eventually.
When it hits its peak, but not right away.
And they're
Well,
just
the same thing
announcing-
kind of happened with desktop computers too. If you remember back when dual cores started coming out, the same sort of thing. Having a dual core didn't actually mean a whole lot right at first, but as it got more and more adopted as far as programming for it, then you see where we're at today. So, yeah, what he said. However, I would think that development towards making use of the other cores would go a lot faster now as opposed to how it did back then.
Oh yeah. Well, even as opposed to a couple years or a year ago when they announced dual core and it kind of just sat there and festered and got semi-exciting, but nothing really happened. So that's for sure.
Well, I mean, what is it? The Asus Transformer that's coming out sometime really, really soon.
Really
right?
soon, if it's not already out.
Oh, well, I can't wait. My buddy has an Asus Transformer Prime on the way, but they haven't shipped yet. So he says, I mean, they've got it's quad core, right?
I don't know if it's quad core or not.
It is Transformer
is it?
Prime.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, there's me not knowing my devices that well.
Oh,
And
by the way,
yeah.
somebody from the stream mentioned how the right pronunciation for the word is it's Huawei.
Huawei. Right.
Huawei.
I've heard that.
Did I say that correct? Huawei.
Yes, you did. I believe that is correct. Cool.
Have you? This is kind of an aside, but you guys know the Dropbox style service called Voila? It's spelled W-A-U-L-A. Every time my brother sees that, he's like, "Wow, what?"
Ideal.
I don't know. There's a lot of foreign companies that struggle to understand the American and European markets, but we'll see how that plays out. Like HTC and a lot of these other companies have really been making a big play, but I'm interested to see what kind of traction they make over the next couple, 6 months to a year.
Right.
To the mainstream consumer market, and talking about customer loyalty. Are they going to be able to develop the kind of customer loyalty that Apple has? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And that actually may get announced or not that specific thing, but we may see some of that at CES. Speaking more on CES, I mean, we may see new big players step up that haven't really said anything before, and now all of a sudden they're talking and things are happening and it's interesting and it's getting really like, ooh, this is something.
Yeah, I'm really excited for CES because not only for the stuff that they're going to release, but to see the positioning that these companies provide at at the event, because it's going to be really important. I mean, moving forward. So we'll see.
Well, at CES, I mean, the thing I would be most excited about is somebody that came out as a hardware vendor and said, "Here's the hardware. It'll run ice cream sandwich. Here's our high end. Here's some low end. Put your software on it."
Yeah, that's for sure.
And that would just be amazing.
For sure, for sure. I think I'll move off CES a lot because we don't know about a lot of it.
As far as one more point about devices being announced, there's been a lot of, and it's still rumor as far as I know, the HTC Edge, which supposedly Qualcomm couldn't provide the processor, so they're going to NVIDIA for a quad-core Tegra, I believe.
Yeah, probably.
And yeah, that thing is supposedly, from the specs I'm reading, I mean, it makes the Evo look like it came out 10 years ago. It makes the iPhone look like a brick. I mean,
yeah, for sure. I mean, if the specs are legitimate and they're not spoofed
exactly
at all, it's definitely going to be something.
I think if that gets announced, due to the hype that's already there. I mean, I've realized the hype isn't very widespread, but you announce something with that kind of specs.
I think we'll see it at CES for sure. At least talk about. Not.
We got somebody in the comments that said the Transformer Prime actually has 5 cores.
The 5th core is a GPU though.
Okay.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, commenter.
The four cores are for actually like full processing, whereas the 5th core is for idle tasks apparently.
Okay. Which is kind of cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, but the big thing, I don't know if you guys read Hacker News at all, but there was a big thread about why is Android notoriously slow in comparison to iOS.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is technically, like if you drill down all the way to, you know, the lowest levels, the reason is that iOS has a dedicated thread to rendering the UI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the moment you press your finger on it, if you're loading a web page, the moment you press your finger on it and you move your finger around, everything stops loading. It just stops. Because it receives your finger input and it blocks that thread on the processor, right?
Right.
Top priority. Until Ice Cream Sandwich kind of like remedies that lag because they've been delegating that thread to another priority, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The moment you touch the screen, something else happens. Well, Ice Cream Sandwich really fixes that because of the way they've set up the architecture. So
exactly, I've noticed that a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot faster. I'm very excited, and in fact, I think that Ice Cream Sandwich is going to be the major thing that's going to set Android apart, even though it already has 4 times the number of installs that iOS has. I really think it's going to. I really think it's going to nail it down as the primary OS at this point.
Oh yeah, of this thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of primary OSs and things that have been primary but are no longer, I kind of wanted to move into BlackBerry a little bit.
Crackberry.
Because
I really let me interrupt you there, and I feel so sorry for RIM lately. I mean,
let's talk about all of it. All of what they're experiencing, all they're going through, starting with their new operating system. And when I say new, I don't really mean new, because obviously it's not going to drop until Q4 2012 is what they've given. Q4. I'm not. Every time I hear it, I give the same thing you just did now. Q4? Why?
They had to design a new syringe.
Now, mind you, it's not. It's not. Yeah, really. It's not. Their next OS. Their next OS is 8. Then they've got 9, and then they've got what they were calling BBX. They lost a lawsuit. Now it's being called BB10. Because I don't know. Some company called BBX said no, you can't call it that, and they thought they'd be able to, and instead of appling through it, they just decided to BlackBerry their way on.
Look. Carm and I both have friends who work at RIM, and I, for one, maybe I can't speak for Carm, but I feel very sorry for those people, especially because it sounds like a minefield over there. Like, if you work on something and then it's like suddenly lawsuit or it gets caught up in, I don't even know. Like, it just sounds like a disaster,
Exactly.
quite frankly.
We're professionals in our own fields, but the professionals out there that actually do tech things, and they go to tech shows for a living, and they report for a living on news and such, those guys are even saying that it's a mess. And those guys, they joke constantly that the company has way too many heads and hands in the pie, and they joke way too often that they just don't have a direction, and they're always years too late. I mean, what do we think about the phones? I mean, I personally started my smartphone tyranny with BlackBerry. I've had 3 or 4 BlackBerry phones now. I've enjoyed them up until the point when Android came out. My story last week I told before, we were semi-live. We had way less people commenting on us because we didn't have this system of doing this.
I know, right?
But I was going to get the BlackBerry Storm on Droid 1 Day, November 6th, 2009. I was going to get a BlackBerry Storm. I knew this new Droid phone was coming out, and I was just gonna let them give me their spiel, and then I was going to ignore them and get a BlackBerry. First, he laid it down though and was like, "Well, I don't want to." The story's not important right now, but I was dead set on it, and I changed. So I mean, I kind of think that's the evolution of a lot of people out there right now. But rewind. Is there anybody here that would get a BlackBerry to this day? Is there anything they could do that would make you want a BlackBerry?
Honestly, for me, I would say no. However, the BlackBerries, when it comes down to it, the BlackBerries are still actually really nice phones.
They're solid for sure. They don't
have all the bells and whistles, but as far as what they do, BlackBerries have always been good.
Right.
I don't think they ever started being bad per se, but
they're just behind.
Yeah, they're just way behind. And honestly, if I were in a business, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If I were carrying around a phone for business, I could actually see carrying around a BlackBerry because they're all about business. Android is kind of about everything. Which I realize businesses more and more are adopting BlackBerries, or I'm sorry, Android.
It's switching, yeah.
Yeah.
My company just actually switched from BlackBerry to Android.
What RIM needs to do, and I have to say, they've moved forward with amazing technical innovations in terms of software and hardware, right? They are on the right track, but they're heading the wrong direction. If that makes sense.
It's almost like they're on the right track, but they're driving the wrong train.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Or like they're going in the wrong direction. I don't.
And that's what I just said, dog.
Yeah. It's so right that I had to repeat it again, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to what I said from last week, in that I cannot physically use the BlackBerry hardware.
Right.
My
what
hands
RIM
are
needs
too
to
big.
do. What RIM needs to do is they need to focus their efforts on contributing to Android, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They need to commit to using Android on all of their devices.
Exactly.
Continue doing what they do best, and commit your code base to something that there's hundreds of thousands of other developers working on already that you're not paying.
Well, I
agree.
Exactly. Cause
I really think if they committed to Android, RIM and BlackBerry in general would be...
They'd have a very beautiful marriage.
It would be gorgeous.
Here's an interesting thought along those same lines. If RIM were to use Android as a base and then build, how carriers always have their own...
Fork it.
Yeah, basically. Not necessarily a fork per se.
An overlay.
Yes, exactly. And focus mainly on business, because BlackBerry has always been about business.
They could actually be the ones to change BlackBerry that dramatically. I mean, something we're going to talk about a little bit later, placeholder. We're going to talk about the Kindle Fire in a while, but they could be the next company that does something like that. Really creates a new version of Android that, I mean, sure the Fire's forked, but it's forked in a way that's still very usable. And, I mean, if BlackBerry did a similar thing, where it was still a BlackBerry, you could still use BBM, you could still use the mail you like and that ringtone that everybody loves, and you know, the light system that everybody likes so much. If you could still do that, but with an Android kernel and an Android this and an Android that with Android APIs, but still, sure, use your BlackBerry APIs too. If you could still do all that, I mean, that would be my next phone probably. Because
I honestly don't.
Yeah.
I don't see any technical hurdles to that, and I don't know why they haven't done it already.
I mean, I'm not a BlackBerry, you know, developer, and I'm not an Android developer, or I'm not a creator of phones, but it just doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult, especially where BVX is supposed to be Linux.
Yeah.
From what I've heard. Or BB10. I'm sorry, don't sue me. Don't sue me. No, that's like me fending off people.
Oh, there's a question on the post regarding if it's true that RIM could have been part of Amazon Kindle Fire. Do you want to tackle that on the Kindle Fire topic, or?
Yeah, we can actually move into it now. I kind of put the placeholder there. Let me just pick it up. And and yeah, we can just move right into that because I mean, we all feel bad for BlackBerry if we don't know what's going to happen next, and it is what it is. So I think we can move into the playbook, which can move us into the Fire, which will move us into another topic. I mean, the playbook basically is a Fire. The playbook sort of runs Android. It is what it is, and it's kind of dying, even though it's a Kindle Fire. I mean, do we want to talk about that at all, or do we want to move right into the Kindle Fire? Has anybody used either more dramatically than the other?
I've actually used the Kindle Fire for a short period of time. It was very nice. I was surprised at how responsive it was.
It's what I've heard.
Because, okay, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, Android is notoriously sometimes a little laggy on the UI.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
especially in older older OSs.
Yeah.
And especially, I think it's forked off of 2.1, I want to say. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard. And if it's forked off of that, then yeah, it could be a little laggy.
Yeah. I was personally surprised with how responsive it was. And that's one of the first things I said. I was like, wow, this is really responsive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. I was a little surprised because it seems like the Fire kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was announced, and even the people that watch press releases like me was kind of like, oh, that's coming? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go. It was like Amazon tablet, Amazon tablet, Amazon tablet, Android, Amazon tablet,
You know,
and over and over and over and over, and then all of a sudden it was here, and I was like, huh.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing about Amazon and their tablets is that they have this dedicated and super passionate user base about the Kindle. And what they're trying to do right now from a business standpoint is take that user base that's dedicated to this, you know, e-ink display that's just non-color, and they're trying to get them into, you know, this modern, super powerful internet-enabled device that's awesome, right? Amazing to us.
They can also read books, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they're going, and I can't say that I'm an expert on this, but that, to me, that's a tough bridge to gap. The people that have a regular Kindle are like, this is good for me because I don't have to deal with any of this extra stuff. It's just get my books. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
From what I've heard,
you're very lucky that they got that device to begin with, first of all.
Right. Especially with a couple readers out there. I mean, this topic's not about the readers and stuff like that. There are other devices out there, so it's definitely interesting that they were able to. Somebody selected the Kindle out of a giant thing. I think the Fire actually enhances that selection process because it makes it so it's like, oh, well, you got this one and this one and this one, and then you got the flashy one.
I think Amazon's biggest issue right now is more so, and I could be wrong about this, so forgive me, but is about how they deliver their content. And what I mean by that is, for example, now you can buy books via Google on the marketplace in Android. And so you can use that with, it's not Google Reader, is it Google Books? I can't remember. Actually, yeah, I actually have it on my phone. I haven't used it. I use Eldeco, but that was one of the interesting things that I thought when they went with the Android tablet.
Right.
That was a pretty big surprise to me because they'd always had these, like, what I can't remember what the display called, the ink thing that's just monochrome.
Right.
Like
it's just e-ink.
E-ink, yeah.
And then they have the Pixel cheese screen that can do a similar thing.
And honestly, I'd never even played around or used one until a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a Best Buy with my brother, and I was looking at these. I was like, why would anybody want one of these?
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose it's kind of a difference because, like, for example, if I got one of those for my grandfather,
right.
he'd love something like that. But as far as and he's got an Android phone, but
she's got a Kindle, I think.
Oh,
all right.
I
Something.
don't know. I feel like Amazon's biggest problem is that, well, for personally anyway, they're a brand without a soul.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even see that on like their website and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. It's kind of
I use their websites. I buy stuff off of there fairly regularly, but it's not an enjoyable experience.
No, it is
in any
not.
way.
No.
The other day, I was wanting to buy a Christmas gift for a friend of mine, and all I wanted to see was what the shipping was. I had to go through all the thing. I had to add my credit card. I mean, I already had an account because I bought stuff previously, but I had to add a new credit card. Had to go through all the adding my own address and stuff like that. And basically, after, I don't know, it was probably 5 or 6 minutes of filling out random junk that I finally got the shipping stuff. And at that point, I was too disgusted with it and just left. But yeah, what you said, I mean, it is not a pleasant experience buying stuff from Amazon. It really isn't.
From what I understand, it's the way that the company is run. So
exactly.
if it's a company culture thing, and you're telling me that your company doesn't have a culture of having a soul and making things easy for people, then I'm going to have a hard time saying you're going to make this tablet and it's going to be awesome for these people who want this simple, easy-to-use thing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is that they don't have, it feels like they don't have a 5-year plan to me. It's just like, oh, let's just do this, let's just do this, let's just do this. Yeah. And I mean, Jeff Bezos is their CEO, but I don't feel like he's a public enough figure.
Right.
He's on stage, yes, and he does things, yes, but I just don't feel like he's one of those guys. It's like he should be in commercials. I feel like he should be letting you know, like, we're a family company type thing.
Yeah.
We
Amazon
have all
doesn't
kinds
have a
of products.
I don't think they're that kind of company.
They
Exactly.
need to be. They need
That's
to be
the
to
problem.
compete in this market. They definitely need to be. They've got Android tablets on the thing, and there's an Android phone rumored. But
yeah.
Rumor mill.
Rumor.
On mobile
So
web dev.
it's just one of those things that's rumored out there. And so if they plan on doing this and having that kind of face, I mean, they need to be out there a little bit heavier. I can see them integrating with Google more and more and more over the next year or so. And if they do that, then they definitely need to have a face. Because if you're seeing Amazon all over the place, you need to be knowing what the crap is going on, with who the company is. I was actually, speaking of some things like who has a face and whatnot, we're getting kind of into this thing, and I was kind of wanting to wrap up, but I wanted to talk about some decently important topics that have come up over the week. One of them being Facebook versus Google on updates, on things that have been going on lately. Facebook got a new timeline. Has anybody seen that yet?
Yeah, I've had that for a while, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've all had it for a while because we all knew how to access developer mode, and whether we're developers or not for Facebook, we were like, I want a piece of this. But what do we think?
It's actually funny because I saw a bunch of my friends adding stuff before 2006, so it's like you're enjoying the timeline. So.
Oh wow! So people are enjoying it. I've not met
and
many
usually,
people that really, really enjoy it. I've met people that go, it's a good idea. And it's like, and nothing. It's a good idea. Leave me alone. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you don't like it then, probably.
It's really cool, but it's not really that useful. And it still positions Facebook as this personal network.
Mm.
Facebook is still you and your friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you and the interests you have. Like
it definitely needs to go away from that because I have maybe 140 friends on Facebook. I could probably delete 20 of those or 30 of those and have a really close-knit, this is who my people are. And that's how you could feel about it. And that's how I feel about it. But I have way more than that on Google+, like way more than that. And I know people here that I talk to on an everyday basis that have way, way more than that. Maybe they have 200 friends on Facebook only, and they just treat it as that. And yeah,
For
the
example,
family does do that.
As another,
can't
sorry.
happen on Facebook.
What's that?
This webcast wouldn't happen on Facebook.
No.
It can't.
Well,
it's not set up.
The meeting of these people. I mean, I've met Eric. I met Eric and Carm prior to you guys, and we talked a lot in the past. And I've added circles, and I've created that. And I had the ability to add circles per se on Facebook for a long time, but did I ever?
Right.
I mean, they had that for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely way easier to meet fucking awesome. Sorry, awesome people here on
18 plus people.
on Google Plus than it is on Facebook. Like Facebook needs to get over their ego and start focusing on these very close knit, very personal social networks, and stop trying to bend to the whim of this bleeding edge stuff. Like, I think Google Plus just nails it.
The only thing that I feel like that Facebook has over Google Plus right now, very quickly changing, is Facebook's open API.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the fact that you can connect to any website, and then you can use Facebook's comment system on your website, and then you can use this thing on your website, and sometimes they even have like an app built in on the website, and it's not always a good thing, especially when you're trying to quit, because then you log in and 14 days starts all over again.
Hey,
well, it's
totally,
not even 14 days anymore. They upped it to like 30.
No, I totally closed my Facebook account like 3 months ago, and they still got that stuff.
You caught himself.
Hey, I'm learning.
For me, it's almost the exact opposite. On Facebook, I have... Oh, crap. I have 181 friends on Facebook. The people... And, crap, somebody's going to see this and be like, oh, my God. I care about maybe 15 of them. The rest of them are people, I maybe went to high school with, or obscure relatives that I've spoken like a sentence or two to in my entire life. And no offense to anyone who happens to be watching this, but
or will.
But to be honest, I just don't talk to you.
Okay, so that hits the essence of it. I quit my Facebook account 3 months ago, and I had a grand total of one person in those 90 days. Even notice.
Exactly my
think
problem.
about that.
Exactly my problem. I quit the first time, went back to manage an Android web page, and my family found out, and they were like, "Why aren't we friends?" I was like, "Because I'm just doing this," and eventually I kind of fell back into it a little bit.
No,
just to find out what mom and dad and grandma were doing. But nobody noticed the first time I quit. My aunt was still like, I was like, "I'm back," and my aunt's like, "I didn't know you left." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I'm gonna be in the minority then, because I have a ton of friends on Facebook.
And that's fine.
Yeah, I know, it's fine.
There's plenty of users that do. I mean,
you're not allowed.
Because of the new subscribe system, guys like Robert Scoble and stuff are getting as many users on both sites. I mean,
I know, yeah, right. It's amazing.
And they get the talk. I mean, I feel like those sometimes when you get the talk back on your thread posts on Google Plus, it's usually meaningful. On Facebook, it's a bunch of ass kissers that are like, "Oh, I totally agree with you, bro. I totally agree with you."
Yeah.
And people aren't afraid to get in fights on Google
Yeah.
Oh,
or
did you know-
discussions, I should say.
Well,
Heated.
they turn
Way
into
more
some really
yours.
nice conversations on Google+.
Mm-hmm.
In
I had-
Facebook, it's like high school,
It is.
and that's the
a
best
lot
way
like
to
school.
describe it.
Well, see, there's a big difference, though, because Facebook allows sign-ups for people under 18. Google Plus doesn't. And getting a Google account is actually quite a bit harder than to just get like a Yahoo account.
And you know, to be fair, I mean, we have to be a little bit biased here because we're all here where we are. Right? But to consider that, I mean, I think if we looked at that objectively, it's still, you're right. I mean, the thing that attracted me to Google Plus in the beginning was this intelligent conversation that was happening at all levels. Whereas on Facebook, I'm looking at some person that I've met, their post about X that's totally not something that I would concern myself with. Not to name any names or subjects, to say the least. But bringing it back to mobile, though, I think Google Plus has nailed the location-based stuff 10 times better than Facebook
yes.
Oh, yeah. Facebook's
The
location is
The
dead.
fact that I can pull open my Google Plus app and see stuff that's happening around me. Dude, I especially that they kind of like promote people that I know. So I just realized that my friend goes, like literally tonight, I just realized that my friend goes to this bar that I really enjoy, and I haven't actually met him there. I haven't like hung out with him, right? So I'm like, I'm going to send him a message, and I'm going to be like, dude, I didn't know you go there. Let's go.
That's
So,
awesome.
And the beauty is that Google built these relationships with store owners years and years ago, before they even owned Android. And so I don't have to set up a location. I don't have to name the location. I don't have to find out the street address. I don't have to go outside and be like, what's this called? 555 Circle Road?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
They just have it there. I can click on their page. I can see who goes there. I can even see that my best friend rated it well. And be like, okay, let's continue going here. And then I can, and from the mobile phone, I can, well, even from Gmail, I can go ahead and call that restaurant or place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole level above what a lot of places do. I mean,
I really think that location-based services, I mean, not to say anything about what I do, but location-based services are going to be very important, and integrating
I've
them
said this for a while.
into, I mean, it's true. It's absolutely true. Like, what's going on around you is so important, so important. And that's really what's going to bring things to the next level, not this quote-quote social network stuff on the internet, right? But, you know, if I open my phone and I'm out and about doing a normal thing like normal people do, I don't know what that means, but...
Yeah, really.
Like,
we won't clarify normal.
But it's like, who can I interact with around me? Like, that's kind of an important thing when you're talking about mobile.
Better yet, who can I meet?
Dude, I've met people all over my neighborhood, just from the local stream on Google Plus. I opened it up. I opened up the Google Plus app one night. This was many months ago, but I opened it up. It's nearby. What's this? You know, and I checked it out. I was like, oh my God, these are people near me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I got to, and it was all public, so, you know, people are just randomly interacting with each other. And I got to know quite a few people in my neighborhood just because. And I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Google's almost there. Almost there, man.
I've met a lot of people on Google Buzz. Failed project there. Yes or no? I don't know. I met a lot of friends, though.
I mean, they are shutting it down, so...
Yeah. Well, they're moving it to Google Plus, really.
Buzz was kind of...
it
was kind of ill-fated from the onset.
But
not because of the privacy issues, just because it didn't define itself very well, in my opinion.
Nobody knew what it was competing with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no, I saw it and I was like, okay, that's cool. What's the point again?
I just buzz up with my Twitter. I'm like, am that supposed to do it?
Yeah. Nobody knew what they were supposed to do with it. And
well,
it really was the precursor to Plus.
Well, haven't any of you guys used FriendFeed Did any of you use FriendFeed?
Yeah.
Did.
I mean, it was basically the same thing, right? Just iteration post Facebook.
It was a lot prettier. It used HTML5 and.
There's a lot of people on Facebook that have that "what do I do" problem with Google+. They just don't get it.
I tell people what to do. I tell them meet new people. My friends aren't here. Meet new friends.
Yeah, meet new friends. I was there today. Well, not like. Yeah, I was using my
was
Facebook
at Facebook
earlier.
today.
I was at Facebook. No, I was not earlier.
Hanging out with Zuck.
And then I wanted to find something in my timeline, but I couldn't search it. And I was so frustrated. I'm like,
search has been amazing on Google+.
Yeah.
Google Plus is
and it keeps getting better.
Yeah,
but
way better.
If I go on Google Plus, I search for something just for one word that like triggers my memory of a post. I can easily, 100%.
Easily find it.
Yeah, find it like instantly. I can go to either like the most recent, or the best of, and just the keyword.
Exactly.
And it's right there. And then I couldn't, like, I was so frustrated. Like, how do I do this? Like, I had to scroll through my timeline and I still couldn't find it.
I think one lesson Google had to learn the hard way over many years is, oh my good God.
Wow.
Bazinga.
Hold up.
Bazinga.
Oh my
God. Something I do have to say about.
I was gonna say,
wow, I had a beautiful point and just lost
Come
it.
back to it. Come back to it.
Come back to it.
Anyway, about the Google Plus mobile app on Android. In Messenger actually doesn't show me my most recent messages. So I don't know if that's a widespread problem or just with
that. I know I can say amongst us, I think that's just you.
Facebook Messenger.
It's very subtle there.
No, it's probably your phone. Motorola.
It's you, it's not us.
It's a Motorola issue, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
very well.
I think of a lot of Motorola users have actually mentioned that. A couple of them have said in a couple different chats, like, why doesn't this update correctly, or why is this?
He's that.
Wait. I got it.
You got it.
I think the lesson that Google took so long to learn and have finally learned it now is the fact that there are armies of Google users, Google fanboys, whether they want to be or not, that they see a new Google product and they want to use it just because it's a new Google product. I mean, I do that myself unconsciously. You know, even before I was all into Google, I was like, oh, hey, this, Docs, what's this,
Yeah.
Schemer coffee.
And and it happened with Buzz too, because I logged into Gmail one day and here's this thing about Buzz, and I was like, hey, cool, this sounds really neat. What the hell do I do?
What do I do with it? Same thing happened with me for Google Wave, except I'm one of those people that sees their vision. I feel like I could be like a PR person for Google because I totally can see their vision.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm like, why didn't you talk about it like this?
In my
opinion, the only reason Wave truly failed is the lack of integration with email. If they had integrated it with email some way from the get-go.
Not even some way, but if they'd have gone all the way and taken all their Gmail users and kind of said, hey, here's this thing, all you gotta do is click this button and it becomes a Wave. Whoa. Like, I think they could have revolutionized the whole world, honestly.
Especially if they could have backwards done all your old emails, turned your old emails into Waves, and then showed you how it would have been done.
It has so much potential, but they just didn't execute. They did not execute.
Yeah.
I would have used that in any company I worked for. I would have tried to build them into Wave, because it's like, if I could go back and rewind a Wave and then play it slowly, in the correct direction,
it bothers me. It bothers me so much when I see Google. Now, some of the projects, kill them, whatever, sayonara or whatever.
There's some that deserve to be dead.
But Wave in particular, when I saw that they were killing it, I was like, man, all that great vision, all that great code has already gone into this. is it just going to be lost because that was an idea, or that was?
Well, it still can be utilized, but it's only going to be utilized by a very small part of the community. And I'm not even sure what the company that bought the rights to it, which is Apache, is going to do with it.
Yeah.
So, if they
I
do
don't know.
anything.
We'll see. I'm kind of excited about that, but we'll see, ultimately.
I mean, I can see them doing something really cool with it and building into, like, maybe a one-step wave in a box so that you can click on it. Well, that's what it's called. But I can see them totally, like, doing something like that. One click, build it, and maybe you can use it as a support forum, or maybe you can use it, whatever. I mean, their instance where they used it for Google I/O, I felt was a little bit weird and not very well thought out, because I was like, I want to know what's going on. Oh crap, 15 things just happened.
By the way, along the lines of that and the original topic, okay, you know how you have Facebook, and you have Facebook's APIs, you have their social plugins, and Google has, what, 2 plugins, I think? There's the badge and, what's the other thing? Yeah, the
Can't
plus
even remember because nobody uses it.
What? Everybody uses +1 button. Come on.
Now they do. It used to be not a big deal, but now it's kind of a bigger deal.
Yeah, +1 button. I was like, there, dude. But I think right now Google is suffering, and I saw the talk they gave. It was some time ago, but basically they said we're doing APIs very carefully, and I assume.
Oh, there obviously are.
Yeah. But once Google has the ability to connect a site, for example, my sites, when I post, they automatically post to Facebook. They automatically pull the pictures in galleries over to Facebook, you know, blah, blah, blah. The moment Google gets that kind of functionality to move over with pages and to interact with your own stream the way you can with Facebook, I think that's the point where Facebook just kind of starts a gradual decline.
I think they're actually testing that out right now, because they just rolled out that new, what's it called, the new Lightbox for...
I saw that. It looks nice.
And on the side of the Lightbox, you have a comment field. And I realized it's the comment field below the picture, not its own comment field.
Yeah.
It used to be that you'd have to comment on the picture, and then if you wanted everybody else to see it, you'd have to go back to the stream and comment as well.
Yeah.
Now it's all one comment system, so they're already testing something like that.
Yep.
It's just heavily internal and may not be for everyone.
Well, and my theory is that if we raised the point of Google Schemer earlier, I don't know how many of you guys have access to it.
I do.
All of you, right?
Yeah, got
it. It's like, I think Schemer is obviously some sort of test for some API that we don't have access to yet.
Yeah.
Because the level of integration is just phenomenal.
It's really sick. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's using some Circle API that isn't public.
Also,
it's spot on, tight, and very very well worked. So.
let me say this: the moment Schemer hits the nearby stream, in mobile, that's it. I mean, because if you can sit there and you've got people in your neighborhood, people in your city, whatever, you know, doing all this thing, you say, okay, hey, everybody, I'm organizing a big mountain bike ride over, you know, well, I always go to Benelli Park because it's like 2 miles from my house, but okay, I'm having a big mountain bike ride over at Benelli Park. You know, anybody's welcome to come. Here's when to show up, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is going to be huge, because how many people are sitting around being like, man, I wish I had something to do. There's nothing on TV, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go to the bar.
Yeah, I think they're going to find out that Schemer, like Google Plus, is going to be used for something that they didn't realize it was used for.
Yeah.
Google Plus was not meant to be used like this. I don't think they planned web shows into Hangouts. And here we are.
We are.
They didn't plan for me to meet you guys. They planned for me to hang out with my family, and they just evolved insanely quickly.
For once, it wasn't the porn industry that pushed something forward. It was the news networks. Because
I don't know.
You saw
Can
the
you argue
LA.
That?
Well, I don't know.
I don't want to get into that topic too heavily.
I mean, I've been in some pretty crazy hangouts, just saying.
Just remind
Just
everyone.
saying.
Just scare everybody with Google keeps archives of all of these.
With that, speak of crazy, I'm going to move into another crazy topic that maybe will get us off this completely in AT&T and T-Mobile.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
It's done.
Ooh.
It's
Yeah.
dead. It's finished.
Did anyone else see
AT&T
this coming?
dropped out. I saw it coming when it started. Everyone said AT&T is buying T-Mobile. I said no, they're not.
Dude,
They
it was
said-
the same
they said
thing with
no,
Google
it's-
and Yahoo.
That's not a lie.
They said yes, they are. They put down money. The FCC knows about it. It's a big deal. I said it's not going to happen. It's two GSM companies. It's going to be a big monopoly. It's not happening. And then Sprint got involved, and I was like, this is not happening. So
Yeah.
and I had a ton of naysayers that fought me up until a week ago, and I was like, guys, it just happened. No, I think they've got something else. And then of course the news recently, and it's done. I mean, I'm personally happy about it because I didn't want it to happen. Is there
Dude,
anybody
if you were a
out there?
T-Mobile user, would you really be happy about T-Mobile and AT&T joining?
No, well,
I'd slit my wrist.
Not a
Especially-
chance. Nah.
especially if you were prior a singular user,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So there
Yes.
you go.
and then you moved to T-Mobile to get free from that, and you're like, not again. My wife actually had that problem, and they moved to Sprint to get away from it. Her and her whole family moved to Sprint to get away from the whole T-Mobile thing.
How about this this spying company that's been kind of like plastered all across Sprint's face at this point, right?
Carrier IQ?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, they've actually dropped
Well,
Carrier
right.
IQ for the most part.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not going to
and
go away fully. In
That's the
full
only
devices.
move that they can make because
Yeah.
you saw the uproar that happened.
Everybody got scared because Verizon's like, we don't even support it. T-Mobile's
You know-
like, yeah, we got it. AT&T's like, it's kind of a thing. And Sprint's like, we love them.
Well, you know,
and everybody's like, no, we don't. And they're like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of a raw deal for Carrier IQ because, here, wait, and bear with me when I say this. If you have a company that is dedicated to, let's say you just want to provide stats, anonymous stats.
They did.
Yeah,
More or less.
and I believe that was probably the original concept. Of course, the carriers, like Sprint, take it and mangle it beyond belief and say, here's some spy application, or, you know.
Mhm.
That's not really Carrier IQ's fault, but in the meantime, they're getting bent over the table by everybody. They're taking
Yeah.
it from both ends.
You know,
And
everybody's
it's-
attacking, and it's just. It's
and
bad.
honestly, it's probably not even their fault. The first place I would blame would be Sprint. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, I
Or
mean,
whoever's making Sprint do it, right?
I highly doubt
You're totally
Carrier
right.
IQ was.
No, Chris, I think you're spot on, man. I totally agree, and not to subjugate any sort of decision that should be made on Carrier IQ legally,
Right.
but Carrier IQ deserves whatever is coming. But
Yeah.
Sprint deserves it too, but I don't think either of those corporations were at the result of this, or at the hand of this.
I believe every company has rid themselves of the name of Carrier IQ, and if they haven't rid themselves of it, they've got themselves down to the bare minimum of what
Yeah.
Carrier IQ does, which is the bare minimum of what they did was, oh, well, we're just collecting data to see when you drop a call, which I'm fine with, as long
Yeah.
as they don't record said call. But if they're monitoring when my calls happen,
Or
I'm
what
fine with that.
numbers, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or
Same with
monitoring your
It's
text
a single
messages.
event.
If a text
if my-
doesn't happen, it'd be fine if they knew, because sure, they'll make it better. They'll send that information back to Sprint. And they'll
That's
make
the
it so I get
only
texts.
information that they need, though, and as long as it's nothing more, I'm comfortable with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But
Fine.
the moment they start delving into anything related to my information,
Mhm.
that's where that
Exactly.
crosses the line for me. Totally.
Well, think about this. I mean, enough law instances happen with, people being falsely accused and so on and so forth. So let's say Carrier IQ data all of a sudden becomes available via whatever court to law enforcement. Okay. Well, at this time, you sent a text message to this number. At this time, you sent or you made a phone call to this number. Extrapolate that, and you have this gigantic invasion of privacy that could.
Yeah.
I mean, it could lead to all sorts of things, and you don't have to be guilty of something to end up being guilty of something.
Imagine it becomes even more public. I mean, what if somebody says, "I want this so public that so-and-so's information's online, pretty easily accessible." I mean, you can't hide anything from anybody anymore, and sometimes it's not even like you're really trying to hide it. Maybe you just don't want so-and-so to know this or that, and it may not even be terrible, but you just don't want them to know for whatever reason. I mean, I've got people that will hide it. Well, I mean, it's the idea of circles. Maybe you just don't want somebody to see what you're saying because you just don't prefer that person.
Like that image I saw, people can see porn, mom.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just one of those type ideas. I mean, and it's just it's a thing that, like I said, everybody's kind of threw the gloves off that were carrier IQ and said, okay, well, we don't have them anymore. And I mean, sure, it's going to be on older devices because it's hard to get rid of until they send an update, which
takes 6
will
months.
be doing very
right. As we previously experienced.
HTC will be doing that within the next 6 months anyway, because I don't know. That kind of brings me into another topic of people getting sued by other people. I mean, there's been a lot of cases. I think this should be our ending topic, because I think we've been going for about an hour and a half now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the cases being, a couple of the cases being, Apple decided to sue everyone because they got mad.
Sue all the people.
They appled everybody.
I believe the first. They appled everyone. Well, I believe the first one was HTC a couple months ago. They threw 10 patents at them, said you're breaking all of them, and HTC, of course, disagreed. And then they said, well, yeah, you're infringing on a couple of ours too, so we're going to take you to court for that. Sounds like all of HTC got, the court said, nah, not really. 9, though, of Apple's got thrown away. 9 of the 10.
Yeah.
9.
9.
Can we get these? 9. But one major one, infringing on Android versions 1.6 to 2.1, went through. So, I mean, from here on out, it kind of makes HTC seem like the good guy, because it's kind of like, it's like, well, we sued them. We won 9 of our patents that they said we didn't, and they're making us update our phones. Is that the worst that you can throw at us? Okay, cool. And so, HTC fans win because they get their phones upgraded, and they're forced not to ever have 2.1 on a phone ever again. And
this is good.
Apple kind of loses because now they look really bad. They didn't win anything. Android's still around, and the same thing, strangely enough, just happened with Motorola and Apple.
Yeah.
Apple sued them. The judge said no to all of them. Motorola won, and now in Germany over this holiday, there's an injunction. They're trying to fight it, but Apple cannot sell the iPhone 4, I want to say, in Germany. And it's like, whoa, that's kind of a big deal. They've got enough stock. It doesn't apply to phones made before such and such date, but they can't ship new phones to Germany. They have to rely on what stock they have. And then, of course, the 4S isn't affected or something along those lines, so they can still sell that one. But it's kind of a big deal that you can't buy, I think it's the 4 in Germany. It's like, oh no, Apple, you're shooting yourself in the foot. What's going on here? I mean, what do we think of this? Do we think Apple's going to continue, or do we think Apple's going to actually start innovating again and make awesome phones?
So what's happening is that Apple's IP lawyers are fighting tooth and nail to kind of like a territory grab.
Yeah.
And Apple's perfectly willing to spend whatever money is necessary to get as much. They really do.
A lot.
They're carving out this territory because they see this incoming threat, and they're going to push the boundaries as much as possible. The public opinion's damaged. They don't really care. They just need to carve out this IP so that, as they know for a fact that iOS is going to be on a decline. right?
Yeah.
They need to carve out
It's inevitable.
It is. It really is. Someone is. It's
Nobody can stay on top forever.
Exactly. What's going to happen is they're trying to carve out residual revenue for these patents as much as they can so that they can sustain themselves for their next major innovation. And it may not happen for another 10 years.
I was
God
actually
knows.
thinking that, I mean, for mobile, I think iPhone 6 could be their new one because mobile innovation is so fast now. I mean, they could really have fire with iPhone 6. I really don't think the iPhone 7 or the iPhone 5 will do anything though, because it's gonna sell like crazy because it was the last Steve Jobs phone. They said the iPhone 4S was, but found out that he kind of treated it like not his phone. The iPhone 5 was his phone. So
Yeah.
Well, it's what he's done in the past. I urge everyone to read the Steve Jobs book, whether you're a fan of him or not. He's an interesting man. He's got a lot he does, but he kind of treats things like they're not his. If he doesn't feel
he
they're
founded
appropriate.
Pixar, so
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Even if you hate him.
Jobs, Yeah, exactly. Steve Jobs is a spectacular person, and I think everybody except for RMS has said the same thing, right?
For the most part, I mean, there's people that poo-poo him, but they don't really know what he's done. He's done a
Apple
lot.
Apple and Microsoft seem to every couple of years rip pages out of each other's playbook and basically try to sue their competition into oblivion. I mean, whether it be patent or can't say it right, patent trolling, or just like going on an epic rage suit. Okay, we're gonna sue you into oblivion. The only problem is when it comes to Android and Google. I mean, Google has more money. At least I'm pretty sure they do.
Allocated for that type of thing, I think they have more money for suits and stuff. I mean, I feel like they've got more. Well, I think Apple and Google are pretty similar actually in that range. Microsoft not so much anymore. They're trying to hold on to everything, but that's. I think we'll talk about Microsoft's downfall next show.
Well, really, I just mean that Apple, from my viewpoint, and I could be wrong, but from my viewpoint, Apple was trying to do like what Eric said. They're trying to carve out their own thing, but on the other hand, they're also trying to seriously damage Android, which makes sense. I mean, if you can.
You want to make your competition look bad so that you'll get purchases on yours.
Of course, if you walk away with egg on your face, then...
And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're majorly walking away because all they're doing is giving Android tons of publicity. I mean, from what I understand, the Galaxy Tab is the Australian tablet now because Apple tried to sue them. They kind of won for a month or so. Then the judge turned around and said, I just don't think this is actually legitimate. So now they have 2 Galaxy Tabs in Australia because Samsung turned around and quickly put out a second version without patent infringements. So they've kind of got 2 10.1s.
Good for them.
Yeah, they've got 2 10.1s in Australia now and only an iPad 1 and an iPad 2. And I mean, you put it to people, and I think, for those who don't want Apple, the Samsung Tab is definitely a hard mover and a seller. And from what I understand from a couple reports, it is the Australian tablet, so to get soon. So it's very interesting.
When it comes to Apple, I'm always reminded of Maddox, best page in the universe. That guy. His article on things PC users can do that Mac users can't. It was like, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was actually, I think, the first one that started the basic comparison between a rock can do this, an iPad can do the same thing.
Yeah.
This can do this. This can do the same thing. And then it's the iPad can view videos, a rock cannot. Which do you want? And I was like, well, the rock does a lot of the same things, and it is free, so. I mean, he was kind of the initial person that did that. I feel like I could be wrong, but he's usually pretty snarky and gets things out there pretty well.
Yeah, I like Maddox.
Yes.
But But I mean, Apple really needs to get, and I mean, we're kind of all against them in a way on this thing in mobile anyway. I know quite a few of us have Macs, but I just feel like they could do better. And I mean, I don't think I'll ever be one of their users because I'm more of an open platform. I like customization. I like to, if I want to change my background, I can, type thing. If I want to make this look this way, I can. I don't want a grid of just things. If I want to make a circle launcher, so be it.
Well,
it's just not what I'm into. But could they do better? I mean, could iPhone 6 come back? Are they in trouble? I mean, we're going to be one of the only ones that are really talking about, is Apple in trouble?
Nobody else will believe it.
Nobody else will say it. Nobody else will report it because, I mean, I don't want to talk about that right now. But the who's in whose back pocket. But are they in trouble? Are they on a downward spiral? I mean,
their newest phone isn't really anything special.
It's
They
not.
put Siri on it. They marketed Siri as this huge thing. And
It's software.
not.
It's software.
It's a
not
web
hardware.
service like we talked about before.
well,
Yeah.
they've
And
done
there's really nothing special about it.
they've done the opposite of what they usually do. Usually they make the tablet and they upsize the OS to do it. This time they went kind of backwards. They made an iPad 2 and they downsized the iPad 2 to make it an iPhone 4S.
To be
That's what it
to be
is.
fair, I think that's the right step because I mean you look at like Star Trek, right? Star Trek: The Next Generation, the PAD, PADD. Like I really think these mobile phones, like the phone call. Honestly, let's face it. I think the phone call. How many of you have made a phone call today?
I made one.
At work. over a landline.
I texted. Does that count?
Right?
No,
I
it
think
doesn't.
that's leading into his point, though.
I don't think it
That's
counts.
exactly right. Like let's face it. This kind of information age is exactly that. It's no longer this voice communication. It's real full-time data and everything. It's the whole works.
Well,
and the tablet is the perfect format for that.
Right,
We don't need a telephone
exactly.
anymore.
If I was late to this podcast, but I was somewhere with
I
a
was.
4G hotspot, well, I'm just saying if you were late and you had a 4G tablet, you wouldn't have been late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's the way this is going. And you
That's
might have
true.
had to drop off the podcast or the show for a minute to get on your computer's connection.
Right.
But you would have been sharing, your information quicker. And I've done that before. I've been on a tablet on a Hangout before, and it's even easier now because now I can start a Hangout somewhere.
And bringing
and
that
that's on
even
iPhone
back.
and that's on iPad, and that you
Yeah.
can do that anywhere.
I was excited to see that on my Evo, but I mean even at the same time, the big thing is going to be network. The network is the most important component of that because even if I have a 4G phone, the Evo, right? I really could have done that, but I wasn't comfortable doing that because the network infrastructure just is not there. Like
On
it's just not
Verizon, in where I am in Verizon and T-Mobile, I'm very comfortable doing that.
there. Are you really?
I'm very, very comfortable. I've had Hangouts where I've jumped in and people are like, "Are you on a computer? Why is your screen smushed?" I'm like, "No, I'm on a 4G connection. I'm outside right now," and they're like,
I'm on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see,
I've
that's
never
the thing
been to
is
the
like
beach. I've
when
been on
when I have a good signal, it's spot on, man. It's just like when you're in movement, that's where I find trouble. Like
yeah.
Well,
moving
I
from place to
noticed
place.
I may have somewhat of a unique perspective on that because I moved here from Kansas City earlier this year. In Kansas City, there's 4G everywhere. I mean, we're talking 30, 40 square miles of just solid 4G. I mean, just everywhere. I come out here, it's not spotty, but I don't really know how to describe it. It jumps from one to the other.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, when I say out here, I mean LA. I apologize.
Well, you don't have to share your location. That's
Well,
okay.
LA's a pretty big place. I think I'll be all right.
No, that's opt-in.
Fine.
Yeah. It's an opt-in feature of Google Hangout.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Map yourself.
It might be one day that you could roll over somebody's profile and see their profile.
As soon as I say that, a little pop-up comes on my screen. Do you want to share your location?
Yeah.
Why, yes.
Google
As a matter of
knows.
fact, I do.
Google moderators, stop listening. But yeah, for sure. I mean, the connection's going to be.
I mean, I have a
established soon.
driving.
Sprint's.
Continue.
We have the worst
No,
connection compared to Europe and Asia. Well, some of Asia.
Well, wait a second.
It's getting better though. Well, actually, our mobile networks are ahead of them, I believe.
Yeah.
Their Wi-Fi networks are ahead of ours.
Yes.
So, but our desktop, or at least our, home connections and business connections are so far behind because of this culture that we have.
It's the competition culture.
Hold up just a second.
It's not the competition culture. It's the legislation that surrounds it. The competition is the good thing, right? If these companies actually competed. No, in my area, honestly, there's only one choice. There is no competition here.
Same here.
Well, I think it depends on where you are, because my parents are the same way. They have no choice on what pretty much carrier they get for internet, but I have 7 choices, maybe.
Of course, on the other hand, think about the fact that Europe is so dense in population, whereas, I mean, here in the States, well, I mean, have you looked at the northern part of Texas lately? I mean, it's flat with some grass.
That's true.
Arizona, there you go. I mean, so it kind of depends on what areas carriers want to cover. Now, some of these smaller towns, like let's say 500,000, I mean, generally you'll have maybe 1, maybe 2 carriers in that. And in my opinion, it comes down to simply companies thinking, okay, well, do I really want to put all this money into building an infrastructure in this location for only, let's say you get 30% of that population.
Right.
I mean, that's really not very much.
Well, I don't want to get into infrastructure too heavily in that route and go that way, but it's kind of funny you say that, because I know a lot of places, actually, the little places, they'll use them as test places. Quite a few small towns are getting what we call in my area, well, in a lot of areas, they're getting just dying. Can't speak. People are getting just faster internet in small areas because they want to test out how it'll do amongst, small communities, and then move it to a bigger community and a bigger community and a bigger community, things like that. And so, I mean, faster internet's just everywhere, and I mean we've just got to move to mobile.
Yeah. No, I think in terms of the future of the internet in general, it's entirely mobile. I think that the barrier of laying like these cables to deal with, actually transferring information, that's too big of a barrier. We can definitely broadcast this stuff wireless, and we can make it fast. I think
for sure.
That's the next huge leap in human communication.
I feel like the fact that I'm not hardwired to my phone, as a thing, it's like, well, I know it's easier said than done, but why not move things like mobile to landline type thing? Wow, is that a side?
No. I don't have that.
Just saying.
No, that's the
a
next
spitting
one.
contest? Because I think he's got more.
Yeah. Do you want to play? You want to go?
They're going to have a phone off.
It's on. It's on.
One of them's going to pull out a razor and throw it.
Yeah.
Razor.
Nice.
Hold on. Hold on.
Oh,
Come on. Stop.
He's like the cable guy except for the phone guy.
I mean, that's awesome.
Wow, you know what? You guys should have like a rap video, except for Money reaching out phones in each hand. I got phones in different areas.
Phones.
I got phones on my hands. There's no remorse.
I've got a bionic in a box that I haven't sent back yet.
That's nice. Nice.
You have a problem.
I don't have a problem. I'm a reviewer.
You need to go to PA.
Don't make me go.
I don't have a problem.
I can send anything I want. I can go back to one device anytime I want.
Yeah, right. Just like you can go back to one ROM anytime you want.
Just because I have 3 backed up right now doesn't mean anything.
Titanium backup for life, yo.
I'm sitting here thinking about it. You know, I'm not that much of a crack flasher. I do like flashing stuff, but I was sitting here thinking about it. I got 3 Nandroids of 3 different ROMs ready to go. I'm like, well.
Exactly.
Oh, guys. You guys.
Okay, so that, with that phone, whatever that was that we just did, I think we're pretty safe to call it a night.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
That was good fun.
And on that
Not
note.
the Windows go thing.
Should
Windows?
We talk about Windows?
No, we can talk about it next week. So
I don't even feel
Mango?
I don't even feel like Steve Ballmer talks about Windows all that often.
Dude,
He's
Windows
like-
what? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, really.
They still sell that?
It'll still be around next week.
What
so.
is this madness?
It might not be. It might not be.
This is Windows. Microsoft on the outside, Windows on the inside.
I don't actually have a Windows phone with me right now. So
Out of all of those phones?
Yeah.
none of them was a Windows
You know,
phone.
God
yeah.
forbid you put widget locker or whatever it's called on there so you can make tiles.
I've decided I actually had a Photon, a Photon 4G from Sprint running with that fake operating system. It was running some Windows 7 lookalike clone.
Oh, yeah.
So it was pretty funny because I'd pull it open and they'd be like, "Oh, what Windows phone is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's the Motorola Photon Android Windows phone." Like, oh.
Exactly.
It was pretty funny. I do need to send that Bionic back. That was
It's like
I
a
forgot it's back there.
It's like Windows for a phone.
Lindos. Oh my god. You did not just say Lindos.
Yes, I did.
So, I mean, do we want to talk about anything else? Wrap it up. Is there any pressing topics that anyone has been trying to get off their chest, but you've only got your grandmother will listen to you and she won't have conversations about phones?
I'm sorry, and I'm gonna let you finish. But Bastion on Google Chrome is pretty awesome.
It's so
awesome.
sweet.
I have been playing it.
The native client. Oh.
I'm so glad they released it. I bought the whole thing. I was like, I played it for 15. Actually, I'm not even kidding. 5 minutes, and I was like, I have to buy this. This is pretty awesome. So.
And you can play.
I'm so excited about the native client.
How long can you play for free before it?
I don't know if it's
Before
a
they make
time
you buy it.
limit because I don't think I played long enough to really get that barrier. I was like, wow, this is a big deal. So I bought it. I didn't even care. I didn't even look. I just bought it. So.
Which is cool, yeah.
Blind purchase. All right.
It's great that they're doing that to where you can feel like you can do that and you'll be happy with it.
Yeah,
And
and
obviously
the big
you
thing
were.
for me, is I'm on Linux, which browser 3D support has been kind of not all there. I mean, even 3D gaming has been not all there.
Yeah, for sure.
But I tested it out, and I just had to be sure, and I was like, wow, this is flawless. I'm buying it. So
That's great. That's great for sure. I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
It runs really nice.
it does. It really does. So
It takes longer to load, but
The download time is kind of
to be expected.
To bring this back to mobile, do we think something like this would ever come to mobile?
Definitely.
Obviously not giant games, but
I think that's one of the things that Google has in their sites.
sweet.
If you want to talk, technically Chrome OS is kind of a mobile OS, right? It's not a phone, but it's not a full OS either.
But
So-
it's what Chrome OS is a thin client OS waiting for enough network infrastructure to be the mainstay. I mean, when we have reliable mobile infrastructure that works everywhere, full speed,
Everywhere.
all the time,
Yeah.
Chrome
You know-
OS on your phone Think about it.
Here's an
Exactly.
interesting thought as far as mobile and stuff like that. But, okay, you know, you have OnLive for gaming. Okay, well, think Chrome OS Office applications and stuff.
I've
It's not
considered.
the same, but, I mean, you kind of understand where I'm going with that.
So I'm gonna go ahead and end this with what I think is gonna happen at Google I/O this year. I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna have a Google TV on stage one of the 3 days, and he's gonna come out and say, or somebody's gonna come out. Maybe it'll be a she. I don't know. They're gonna come out and say, so we know, because they do this style. We noticed that when we look over some trends lately, you guys like to play games a lot. And we like that a lot. We like that you like to play games on our system, on our Chrome OS. And, you know, with Google TV really doing well this year, we've been thinking a lot. And, I mean, and then he's going to pick up his Android phone. And then he's going to be like, we've been thinking a lot. And then he'll, like, go ahead and be like, I've pre-installed, you know, something like Bastion on my Google TV, actually. And if you want to bring that up, and then he'll have somebody bring it up, of course. And he'll be like, as you can see here, I'm also downloading the client to use that on my phone. And you'll be like, wait a second, what's going on here? And he'll be like, and the phone is actually working like a controller.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And you'll be like, okay, what just happened for real?
Yeah.
Who's holding the controller playing that for it?
And then I'll forget everything that just happened at E3 with the new Xbox 590 and be like, I'll be like, my next game console is Google.
Yeah.
Because I can honestly see something like that happening, where
It's
your mobile phone will be your controller or your paddle or your whatever.
Your
I
D-pad.
mean, it definitely won't be 2012 where that'll be fully working and everything. But like sometime in 2013, if you own a Google TV and you own a Google phone and you own a Google tablet, you'll need a console, but that will be your casual gaming for 2013.
And
I feel like
Nintendo should watch out, because that's where that
there'll
it
still
goes
be
that way.
there'll still definitely be a niche for things like Nintendo. But because Google will be more like, I feel like, Flash games and stuff like that
The new
initially.
Android mote.
But
I mean, with
but yeah, in 2013, 2014, they all could see troubles, especially since Google has acquired some small game companies over time, things like that. I mean, I feel like they're definitely going to do a lot of stuff like that. I feel like this year is, I mean, last year they talked about Android at Home, where it was like, they walked over with an NFC-enabled phone, walked over to a CD, scanned the CD just by touching the two things together. It started playing over a loudspeaker, and it was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And I mean, with the TV involved too, and tablets and everything like that, I think Google is going to own the home this year, and the game console is going to be a huge thing in that. In fact,
Yeah.
if they haven't already bought OnLive secretly, I'd be super surprised.
I am genuinely hopeful that your vision of the future is what Google has in mind, because
Well,
that's it.
That would be badass.
I don't know what it is about me, but somehow I usually get these little glimpses of what should happen or what might happen.
what is he doing?
I was gonna say he accessed the what's that thing called?
Andy.
Easter egg.
And Neon
There's an
Andy.
Easter egg. There's an Easter egg.
Niandroid.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Put Motorola in that scenario.
oh, for sure, because Motorola has 17,000 patents and different technologies pointed towards those type of things. And Google has not officially bought Motorola, but everyone at Google has said yes, and everyone at Motorola has said yes, and they're just waiting on like one fellow at the FCC or something like that to give his final okay.
Somebody
And
come back
it's pretty
from
it's a very positive experience. Nobody's really said no to it. It's just something that's kind of feeling good right now. So I mean, Motorola definitely can be stuck in there because Motorola has tons of home products and tons of things like that. I mean, like I was saying, I usually have a pretty good feeling or an inkling of what's going to happen, and I tend to be right later on than I usually say. But I mean, when Chrome came out, I knew Chrome was it. It was fast. People doubted it. People thought Firefox was going to excel, but Chrome's the #1 browser, period.
Yeah.
When Android came out, like my story I was telling earlier, when Android came out for Droid 2.0, or Android 2.0, the Droid, I was kind of like, I don't think I'm going to get this. But then as soon as I actually saw it working, I was like, no, this is it. This is the platform that we're going to be running off of very soon.
Yeah.
And I feel like that Google TV, and then on top of that, at the end of their presentation, they're going to say, give your mailing address to the people at the front desk because you're all getting Google TVs. And that's how they're going to master it. And
Well, no.
Yeah.
Also, if you think
it
about
sounds like a joke, but it's true.
Google TV and then YouTube and then also the Hangouts on air. Also.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they don't use Google TV as like as your microphone or your camera and your microphone, imagine me holding my phone or my tablet to my face and that using the camera, but it broadcasting to the television where I can watch all of you guys and what you're doing, but I'm just using like a mobile camera. I'm walking around my house though. I'm doing my day-to-day stuff. I'm going maybe even
Hang out at the
outside.
beach.
If my Wi-Fi works well enough, I'm going outside. But you know, I can come back in, drink my coffee, and watch you guys on my television. I mean, that is not even...
Well, you take a look at the recent shakeup in Google's executive architecture. It's like Larry Page, really. Like, look at what Larry Page has accomplished in... How long has he been CEO again?
Since April 4th.
April? Okay, so... Look at what he's accomplished in that relatively short period of time. He's unified and packaged the stuff up, and he's done a phenomenal job, I would say.
Well, they laid the groundwork for him over the 10 years. He just brought it all together with a good mind. I mean,
That's fair enough.
I can't discount anything anybody's done at Google over the past couple of years on that thing. He was just the one that was just like, okay, we need to get this done now before later, sooner than later. And I mean, he knew that things were going to have to come now.
Yeah,
and so definitely, Google TVs was kind of, it's this and it's that and it's this and it's that. I mean, under his reign, Google Music became a thing.
Yeah.
We have 3 labels. Under his reign, I feel like Fox and a couple other networks are going to sign on. I don't know if it's going to be Fox, because Fox is very in bad terms, I think, with Google right now. But, you know, different networks, I think, will sign on for Google with very exclusive content. And I don't think they're going to buy anybody like Hulu or Netflix, but I definitely think we could see a huge partnership for Google TVs with one of those companies soon. Huge partnership. Probably exclusive type partnership.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't see network TV surviving very much longer, in the sense that this is HBO and this is CBS and this is ABC.
They'll definitely be around. Yeah. They'll definitely be around in a staple for at least another 5 years.
Right.
But
I
you're
agree.
right. I mean, with Netflix getting episodes of Arrested Development exclusively, and that being a fan favorite show, that's kind of a big deal. And I mean, Netflix has also agreed to sign certain people up for movie deals where Netflix basically makes the movie, and they're not going after B actors or C actors. They've got a couple A-listers in their pot saying, you know, this is what we're going to do. So I mean, it's definitely an option. It's definitely a 2013 type thing. I wouldn't expect it to happen at Google I/O this year. I mean, Google at Home was a last year type thing, and we still haven't seen it come to fruition by any means. But we definitely could within. I mean, they usually do like everyone else. They'll talk about it, and the next year they'll either release it or release a small part of it. So I definitely expect to see something like that be bigger this year. So, I mean, I don't know. Apple will definitely be able to compete with them because they already have that ability in a lot of ways. They've got AirPlay and Apple TV on most Apple capable or most new devices. I believe the iPad 2 and the iPhone 4 and the 4S all have AirPlay ability. Probably even the 3GS if you modify it. So I mean, they're definitely going to be able to compete in that way. I think Google's got it done bigger or on a wider spectrum in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll definitely have competitors, especially with Microsoft. The Windows Phone is definitely going to be the controller of the Xbox 360. They've said that. It's not a rumor. It's fact. It may not be in the same exact idea as what Google could have, or my idea of what Google could have. But my general thinking is, if I just thought of it, Google thought about it a year ago, and they're just figuring out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And they can do it. That's the thing. They have
You're right.
They have every ability to do everything. I mean, I'm not everything logical that I think of anyway. I mean, there's things like, why don't they do that? And it's like, because it's not logical. But this is so logical. I mean, they've already got everything in place to do it.
That's what you need us for, right? Spot check you on those things.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Guests of the show will from time to time knock me down because I'll be like, yeah, Google self-flying airplanes. It's gonna be cool.
And then all of a sudden they come out with self-driving cars, right?
Yeah. That's when you guys can knock me off a little bit and be like, okay, let's go back to your TV idea.
They're not doing self-propulsion spaceships just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
They're starting with cars first.
I mean, what do you guys hope for the future of mobile? 'Cause I don't want to just focus on Android. And as soon as the last person has spoken, I'm seriously done. I keep talking and talking and talking. But what do you guys feel? If you have a comment on it, just start talking about it, and when you feel exhausted, we'll kind of call it good. Anybody, go ahead. I don't want to call
Bueller.
Cry. I'm really excited about kind of this idea that, well, as a contrived example, my toaster can have an IP address.
Yeah.
And I think that is the future of mobile.
But what if your toast is on a different subnet?
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, I think you're onto something. I think the future of mobile is not mobile as we understand it today, but just complete ubiquitous internet. The end.
Sure.
Just ubiquitous network connectivity. That's it.
Sure. Carm, do you have a feeling on this, or Ben? A short but sweet feeling, I should say.
I mostly agree on that. Like everything would have their own, IP addresses. My stove, my microwave, my dishwasher, and just I can completely control from somewhere through my phone or through my PC, something like that, or through my TV even.
Well, there's been a lot of, through time, there's been a lot of scary stories about, everything's controlled by a computer in your house, and, people get locked in there and, and roasted in. Yeah, they get roasted in their own ovens or skewered by their kitchen sink. But I really see even appliances getting networked like we've been talking about. I mean, imagine you're off somewhere and you're able to tell your oven to start cooking so the turkey's done when you get home. I
feel like entertainment would probably be the first thing to come, but yeah, that in time that all is something that will be available. Entertainment.
Well, that's all the same tech.
It is.
Right.
But the thing is, it encourages like a different kind of manufacturing, which will create more jobs, because now you're going to be creating all these different type of technology that will allow them to communicate with each other. So, which is not existing right now. So.
I was short and sweet. You guys were the ones that kept talking.
And that's
Ben gets the short and sweet award. Achievement unlocked. I will personally have Google put that on your profile. It's gonna be.
Speaking of achievements,
that would be awesome. Just have an achievement pop up through the window.
Oh my God.
Carm, what are we gonna do?
I don't even know.
Oh my God, Carm.
I feel like that's an inside joke. Maybe?
It is definitely an inside joke. Sorry.
I'm sure I can see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But I think we're all pretty much talked out for now. We could probably all talk about different things, but that's what repeat guests is for. So I definitely hope to see all of you again.
been real?
I don't know if our next show will be at the same time next week. We'll definitely communicate it.
all
We've
up
talked
to
about.
you.
I know I've talked to you about a different schedule because
It's
this is
pretty
hard.
late over here.
It's hard on a lot of people, and I mean
Whatever happens, just drop the time in the comment thread.
I feel like a Sunday would be a lot better.
Maybe a Sunday?
So what I'm thinking is if people feel Sunday would be better or Saturday would be better, leave a comment on YouTube or in the stream.
Or
Due to my work schedules, I can't make, 5 p.m. any time, Standard, Central, nothing. None of that can work just because of my schedule, and we're trying to make it work as best we can. So if a weekend would be better for people to watch, I'd love to know about it. It might not matter because they just might watch it Monday morning anyway as a YouTube show.
They can watch it over at YouTube because this is recorded and then as soon as
and published.
I can just publish it and they can just watch it anytime.
So I think maybe we will do it on a Saturday or a Sunday. We'll communicate about it and make it, and see also what's better for our devs and our guests who are really important. So
Hey, by the way, quick question for everybody else: does the show have a page? Does it have its own
Yes.
Google Plus page?
Yeah,
Do you guys have a Google or a gplus.to link for it?
I don't think we have the TO link right now.
yeah.
But you can just search for mobile web dev. We're the only one called mobile web dev that's got a brand page. So mobile web dev. There, I said it right.
Okay. You know what?
We did so many rebrandings of this mobile web dev thing.
Mhm.
Funny.
So look for us.
We started
We
with-
have a brand page.
Oh God, there's 2 of them. Sorry.
There's 2 pages. There are 2
Oh,
pages.
no.
2 pages.
Dun dun dun.
Thank you, Carm.
Oh, wow.
Thank you to the
You hear
kids at
her?
Carm.
Like that's
did,
her
I
daughter
did.
playing Xbox, and she's like,
Well, tell her to be playing the Google TV soon. Throw that thing out to the curb. Won't even matter soon. So yeah, that's a good way to look for us. Of course, I don't think I have to mention we are blah 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 at blah 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 because we're not on Twitter. We're on Google Plus, so you can just find us here. It should be pretty easy to find us.
Search.
Yeah, search for us.
Easy.
It should be pretty simple because even on the YouTube thing, it should say who's talking and such. But for plug yourselves basically. Just tell your names. If something's hard to spell it out for the people. Let's start with Ben. But basically, just say what your name is and how best you're found.
Okay, my name is Ben Woods. I go as Foreboding Angel. If you Google it, you'll get tons of it about me. I have a indie open source RTS game that I've been working on called Evolution RTS. Search for Ben Woods, Foreboding Angel, or Evolution RTS. You should find me somewhere in there.
Okay. Carm, I'm going to skip you just because you're one of the hosts, and they're going to know about us a lot, I feel like.
hopefully.
So go ahead, Chris, and just say whether you're on Twitter, how people can find you.
Okay. Christopher Biscardi. That's like Bacardi, but with an IS instead of an A.
Perfect.
If you search Christopher, I'm like the 7th Google result.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm starting a small little screencast session for people who want to learn to develop websites. So,
Perfect.
Little plug there.
So definitely get into that. This show is definitely all about mobile and development, so totally plug yourself. Eric, how can people find you?
So I'm Eric Martindale, MartinDale, and you can find me at ericmartindale.com/plus.
No.
Now get back to your Google Plus profile.
And that will link you guys to my Google Plus profile, and that's where you want to go.
That's really cool. Okay, that should do it. Let's wrap it up. Like I said, we may not be back Wednesday. We may be back on a Saturday or a Sunday. I don't know. It may be better suited on Wednesday, though. I know a lot of developers are actually up now coding anyway. So why not take a little bit of time out of their busy day to
keep them
do
company.
this? Yeah, why not? So come on. I mean, this has been really successful, I feel like. We've been reading off the stream. It's been cool. Keep tuning in and tell us what you might not like. Maybe I'm not a good host. Maybe Carm needs to talk more. I don't know. Let us know. It'd be cool.
Talk more.
So, like we said,
Cool.
mobile web dev brand page, and our website is under construction. So, if you go there, it'll kind of just tell you to come back here. So, that should do it for the night. I guess, Carm, you're probably going to have to end this because you started this. So, we'll call it good. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thanks to
All
you
right,
guys for
thanks.
having me.
Thanks
Again,
for being here.
yes, thank you.
It was nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.